It's the usual StreamYard bollocks, isn't it?
Well, this was not something that we envisaged. I think people that are watching this live or whenever they decide to watch it at a later stage will have heard the very sad news of the very untimely and unforeseen passing of our friend, our YouTube colleague, the one and only Peach. He really was a total one-off. I'm joined obviously by Duke, and we've obviously got John from JPWHU TV. And literally just as I speak, Milesy's arrived as well to sort of give his own tribute, his own personal tribute to a much loved friend and colleague. And if any of you guys in live chat, if you want to sort of leave your own tributes as we go, please feel free. They will be muchly appreciated. If anybody wants to actually join us live in the studio, if you turn your attention to the banner at the bottom that's ticking along, you can do so. The link is in the chat. Just wind back a bit, you'll find it there. If you want to pop on, feel free. If not, then do what you want to do. It's fine. Completely up to you. Okay. Duke, talk to me.
Heartbreaking, mate. It's sorry, I'm already we're literally 2 minutes in, and I'm already on my. It's heartbreaking, mate. I mean, as we were saying just before we came live, there's very few of us this side of the water that have met him. Probably, just in fact, just as many of the other side of the water that haven't met him. There were a few people that were privileged to actually meet the guy. I found out the news much like a lot of you guys this morning. Woke up to messages and things, and it took a good hour in for me. It took a good hour for it to kick in. I think as I said to you earlier, when I said the words out loud, I read the messages, I did whatever. But then when I actually said the words out loud to Joe, my other half, I didn't. That was it. I couldn't stop the waterworks. I went, started crying, and then everyone else that I've spoken to, obviously retelling the story of obviously knowing Beach and losing him. I go every time, and more than likely as we go through this and I hear other people's stories, I'm likely to go. Again, with, most of us have got voice notes from the guy. I went back through a couple, a couple that I received a couple of weeks ago, which was the last time I really spoke to him. And I can't help but smile. I can't help but smile. I can't help but, I suppose, be all and end all to be thankful for, you know, coming across the guy just about over 2 years ago. I thought it was a YouTube persona. I thought it was. I didn't think that the personality could be real. If I'm honest with you, when I first came across him with I think it was on with Gonzo or seeing part of the video that Gonzo had put out on Hamish Chat. It just seemed like he was like a character like Harry Hill, someone that had someone created
of his real self.
And then as I got to watch more videos and I got to talk to the guy and everything else, I realised it was true that was him. And I've got one story before I stop talking. I'm very aware. I was talking to him obviously about the initial accident he was in years ago. He spent a lot of time in hospital. Some people might not know this, but he told me about when he needed severe facial reconstruction, okay, due to the accident that he was in. and he told me how much he disliked his parents for a moment in time when they took a picture of himself to the hospital to show the surgeons for the facial reconstruction, because it meant he looked like him again, and they didn't take a picture of Brad Pitt to the hospital, so he'd end up looking like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And
remember him telling me that.
I think that was one of the first stories, like personal stories, that he told me about himself. And I remember just absolutely pissing myself laughing, just at this guy that, from something that was quite devastating, let's not mess around, to have that done and have to go through that, must have, exacted a big toll on the fella. And for him to still come out and laugh and joke and be Peach, it was a testament to the guy. Absolute testament to the guy. And I know I'm not the only one. I probably won't be the only one. So thankful that I got to know him. And I'm thankful that, we were part of each other's lives for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. John, anything, what would you like to say about the man that is Peach?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, on behalf of everybody that's watching this live and ourselves and those that are watching it recorded after it's been broadcast, we give our condolences and our thoughts to the family and his very, very close friends, because we're not just his only close friends here. We know he's got a lot of friends that weren't on YouTube and aren't able to have this sort of platform to say to the family, and I'm hoping that the family's watching this as well. So yeah, it's a big loss. As Jukey was saying, woke up this morning, I look at the group chat, saw like 40 odd messages. I thought, what the hell's happened? And just reading through everything, I was just in absolute shock. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think I cried as much as I did this morning as I did when we lost Dad 12 years ago. It really, really hit home that, like everyone's saying, we're not going to hear his voice anymore. The man was a ball of light in many, many ways. His passion, his love for the West Ham, his love for everybody that he knew. He's just that 100% genuine guy, and not to use the old cliche, but in Peach's instance, the brightest star shines for the shortest period of time. And he was just, and I'm very, very angry at the circumstances that have caused why we're all together at the moment. Understandable from the family's point of view with the history of what's happened over the last couple of weeks, but very, very angry. And I hope the person that is responsible for what happened originally, for him to get into the situation that he was when he unfortunately passed away, I hope those people are found and tried and convicted for as long as possible, because they have caused us to lose one of the best people, one of the best people we've ever known. And like a lot of us, as Jukey was saying, we feel like we've known him since a kid, because that was his approach to everybody, just chatting to you like you're his best mate. And it's a real heartbreak that he was going to come over this season. He was talking about that a few weeks ago, that he wanted to get together with everybody and have a beer. We're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a big regret. Like everybody, I wish we could have physically been in the same pub or the same room with him and talked to him properly in the way that he is. I miss the man really badly. I mean, the first time I came across him was when he started being in the live chat with some of the watch-alongs I was doing for on my channel. And I remember one of the conversations I had with him officially was like, mate, what's wrong with you? Why are you typing in every other capital letter? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And that's his calling card. That every single video or live stream, it was always big up JP, my G, all the time. And
how you mean?
Yeah. And as we were talking, as with some of, and in the group chat today, a lot of the voice notes have been floating around. And to be honest, I haven't got the strength to listen to them. I really don't. We listened to the first one, and that was it. I can't listen to anything else because I do. I miss the bloke. He was just. It was the only person I've ever met that genuinely said, "You're the only one that can match me." about the way that we bounced off each other and the energy that he put it through. We bounced off each other big time, and it was just knowing I'm not going to be able to have a beer with him as everybody else is feeling as well.
Absolutely.
It's just today. The planet is a little bit darker and a little bit colder without his warmth and his light.
Agreed. Before I come to you, Milesy, it would be very remiss of me not to mention, within about the last hour, I believe there's been obviously there's as we've alluded to, there's a YouTube West Ham YouTube channel WhatsApp group. I'm forgive me if I'm struggling with my words. I've never set up a GoFundMe page in my life, but we all sort of had the idea to, in Peach's memory, get a stone Champions Place London Stadium in his memory, and we've sort of batted the idea back and forth, and I sort of said about how about a GoFundMe page, which after a bit of a conversation and whatever, we've set it up. The target is £1,000. We set the target at £1,000. Obviously a stone isn't going to cost that necessarily, but obviously bear in mind that there's a family that have just lost their son, their cousin, their nephew, whatever. So any surplus funds to the stone being sort of put in place will be given to the family for them to utilize as they require. As you can see there it is in loving memory. If you didn't know what his name was Matthew Wren, but we obviously knew him as Peach. You can go on to the GoFundMe page. Last I looked, as it sees there, it's already up to 785 of £1,000 target, which, given that I set that page up within the last hour, is absolutely phenomenal. And again, the chances are that the vast majority of those people are people that never met him in the flesh, but they obviously found a connection to the man, and they want to give a due tribute to him by donating. And there is no donation, as I always said when we was banging the tin for Isla. There is no donation; it is too small, and exactly the same applies here. If you've got £5, if you've got £1, if you've got whatever it is that you want to bring to the table and leave towards a tribute to a very unique individual, it has to be said. And he, as we all know, he could do your head in at times. He seriously could do your head in, but he was a truly unique character who never ever intended to hurt anyone. He could sometimes, as we've alluded to, he was involved in a very serious road traffic accident years ago, which required reconstructive surgery, and it also left him with certain cognitive impairments, issues, whatever. But he could sometimes be a little bit cumbersome with his words. He could sometimes say the wrong thing. The words would leave his mouth before he'd actually engaged his brain, and he could sometimes piss you off. But he never ever meant to hurt anyone. He didn't have a bad bone in his body. He really didn't. And yeah, I'm just going to miss the fella. So as I say, if you guys are watching this and you can put a few bob into that GoFundMe page, as I say, we're going to get a stone for him at Champions Place London Stadium, and whatever surplus funds are there, once the GoFundMe page stops. And I was asked a question by, and I hope he won't mind me name checking him, James Fever sent me a couple of messages, and he asked me sort of how long is that page up for, and I'm like, mate, I haven't got the faintest idea. I've literally just set the thing up and I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm winging it. Same as when I'm on this channel, really. So yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I'm doing a Peach. I'm doing a ramble. And I'm just going to shut up. Milesy, take over.
Yeah. like what everyone else is saying, waking up to the news. In fact, I'm not going to lie, gents. When I go to bed, I actually put the West Ham chat on mute because sometimes messages just go on during your sleep. And Joe, when you just hear your phone vibrating, and as usual, yesterday I done exactly the same thing, and I actually didn't open the messages until I was on the train on the way to work this morning. So I was just shocked of how much it was. But yeah, I had tears in my eyes on the way to work, and when I got to work, I was like, I just don't want to be here. But I managed to stay till 1:30 to get a lot of the stuff done. But with Peach in general, yeah, the maddest thing was on Sunday we were talking back as well, and he loved it because where I was in Malaysia, I was sort of better on his times. He's like, I've got someone to actually talk to, people to talk to for 24/7, which was a nice tribute. But yeah, he's just yeah, he was a character. Like even my missus now, Shelley, like when we was on holiday, we FaceTimed him at least once or twice a week. And even like the rap what he even made about Shelley and stuff, and like stuff like that, or like we've hardly known, and he was just sitting there, and he actually done one when I was in Malaysia, and like you said, going back and watching and listening to the stuff what he sent, it you really do realise just what a unique character he was, if that makes sense. And like you said, his love for West Ham and his knowledge. But the things what I'm going to miss though, gents, the most is not just his voice notes. It literally is the random times he does a stream. Like Duke, when he works in a pub, sometimes everyone else is in bed, but gets to midnight and he can go out and play because he's going up to bed, and for example, and he's still live. But the streams we've been a part of, the most memory one what I had was this. Obviously, at the time it was worrying was when he got arrested because I was actually live on the stream, and I've never laughed so much in my life. Literally, him just knocking on every single door, and then when the police turned up, he was just like, "I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing." And then all of a sudden, his phone was still in his pocket as you heard the handcuffs getting put on him, but. The best part about it was we was all doing silly dares, making money. I think it was for Isla actually, and then we said we'll donate 50 quid or whatever if you jump in the lake. And he's like, I'm not crazy, and I'm thinking you are fucking crazy. You're a nutter. But in the end, he started to for every door he knocked on, I think we made a donation. But yeah, that was class. But as you know, I've made a few. Obviously, Peach does a few rhymes, and when I've been down the bar, and he loves the red stripe as well. And this is for you, Peach. And yeah, like you said, everyone's memories are unique, and yeah, it just proves that life's too short, in my opinion. And a lot of people go, no, just when I retire, I'm going to do this, or when I finish playing football, I'm just giving footballs. But now this has made me realise if you've got a dream. Go and smash it.
Yeah, tomorrow might never come.
Also, guys, obviously it was putting things in, as Marzi, you're absolutely right, mate, putting things in perspective, going on to Twitter and seeing the meltdown about Lingard going to Forest. And I was just like, guys, we've just lost somebody here that's a bit more important than that. And it was, but yeah, it was Adam Frankel's stories about how he would never turn up on time for a stream if you invited him on. When I had him on for the season review, he jumped in 10 minutes late. I was like, mate, I can't do it. You have to be on time. It was never that was Peach, mate. Yeah, Marzi, you're absolutely right, mate. That was Peach. He lived in his own world on his own schedule.
Yeah, and sorry, one thing to add is obviously we're doing the shirts and everything. So once all the shirts and everything arrive with Peach's number on the back, and I agree with what James's comment when we do get the stone or whatever. I was even talking to Duke earlier. We just need to probably the first couple of games will probably be a bit manic. So probably once all the dust settles, we'll have to go for a drink in Stratford and just or whatever, and we'll just have a day to dedicate it. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm about 20 minutes, half an hour into the stream. What got broke on West Ham Random yesterday, and I to be honest, I weren't in the right frame of mind to watch it, but I definitely am. But all the tributes from the other channels, and I'm not just saying it because we are West Ham fans, but we are the best fans in the world, and it just proves that we unite as one, and we deal with everything. So yeah, that's from me. But have you got many people waiting in line, Casey? Do you need me to drop off? Or
No. Please
okay,
don't.
cool.
No. You stay where you are, mate. If if
Mm-hmm.
anyone pop off, I can take myself out and I can just sort of control things from the background. It's not a problem. But at the minute, there's no one. Although, and I'm going to take a wild guess. I haven't looked. But that I'm wondering if that might be Larry. Because it just says Facebook user. But I know he said something about an airport that he was going to a little bit earlier. If you want to come on,
it is Larry, Rob.
Is it? Okay, right. Let me just. I have put it in the. Hang on, I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm all over the show. Right, hold on, Larry. Right, I've just popped it in the chat. If you want to join us, mate, knock yourself out. Right, okay. Lucas, your memories of Peach.
Yeah, I just want to start off and make a correction. He never left a voice note. They were voice novels.
Yes,
most of the time.
that would be an accurate. That would be very accurate. Yes.
So he
What was your record? Just before you continue, what was have you got a record that he got to with you?
Are we going to count? Are we going to count songs along with that?
No, just where he sort of sent you a voice note where he was just talking about nothing in particular.
I think the longest I got was, it might not be as long as y'all's, but I think it was like 8.
Oh, I think my record was
That's
about
a mini book.
Yeah, I think my record's about half an hour.
Mine was 18. I went back and had a look. I ended up with an 18-minute voice note, and yeah,
many of 6, 7, and 8s, but I never reached that milestone of 15, 20, which probably some of you have quite a few.
They were marathons, mate. Let me tell you.
Did any of you actually have video notes, if that makes sense as well? If you had a lot of them, I've just gone through and literally.
On occasions, yeah.
Yeah, one was literally on the 2nd of July, and it's 8.5 minutes long, just a video of him talking. So, I'm do you know what I mean? You just don't even realise that as well. And literally, it's him walking down the street at night, and it's just like. But the best one for me, sorry to interrupt, was when he said that they're on private property. So he just stepped like one step away and went, "No, I'm not. You can't call them. You can't call the cops on me no more." Or saying on private property.
Yeah, sorry, Lucas. Continue. Sorry, I do apologise.
No, you're good. This one's going to be quite tough for me. I've been holding this one back for a little bit because I did receive that unfortunate news quite late last night, my time, about like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whenever it happened, and most of you were asleep. But there's really not enough words to describe this man. Really, you could go on forever, and I don't think there's enough adjectives or anything to describe him. And he was just so positive, and I like to consider myself a positive person. West Ham brings out the bad in me when it comes to positivity, but he was such an optimist. Like, I mean, to him, we were going to win the league every year. Yeah. Every match prediction was 8-0, 7-0. Vlasic to score 4 goals, Suchek to score 2, and whatever you may have. But the one thing about Peach that really struck a chord with me was his selflessness. And Duke, please, I might have to put my hand over the screen, because when you're gonna start crying, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry anyway, but fuck it.
Go on, we'll do it together, my man.
His selflessness was top tier. I'll never forget when in our whole group chat I told everyone that I was coming to England, and I did, and I was gonna be over there for a whole month, and he was so excited for me, and he would just hype it up every single day and tell every single person. He was like, the man's doing 2 things. He's going to England for a month. He's going to see so many matches, yada, yada, yada. And when I went over there and I met everyone, all you, he would just text me every single day how everything went, what I was doing, how the match was, my experience and everything. And it really made such an impact on me, especially after meeting everyone in person. And I've told Duke this a million times when we hung out and I was at the pub, that it just, when I met everyone in person, it was so seamless. Like, it's like I've known everyone for years. Like, there was just no drop off. There was no that weird, awkward first interaction. But it was just amazing to me how someone that I've, let's be honest, in a lifetime, a year is 2 years is not long enough. The short time that I've known him and realized how selfless he was, and he just cared about what I was doing every single day and what I was doing over in England on my trip, how the match was, did I get my fish and chips yet, what was I drinking. It was not a lot of people do that in your life, except maybe your family, other close friends. But really, he was just so selfless. And another thing on the voice notes, like we all have so many voice notes, hours of material, including his music and and stuff we may not have asked for, but we got it. But just the hours of material, and it's just not enough. It's not enough.
Agreed. Alfie, you've been sitting there very patiently. I dare say you've got a story or two to tell about Peach.
Well, the thing is with Peach, and I've always said this because I'm in an Instagram group chat as well with a load of people who I don't think anyone on here has spoke to, and Peach is in that, and they obviously didn't know Peach, so they didn't know what he was like, and he would send these 15 minutes voice notes of him rambling on about how we're going to win 15-0 and things like that, and everyone was just like, who is this guy? But you could all tell that they liked the guy, and they all got along with Peach. Peach got along with everyone. And when they found out about the news yesterday as well, everybody in there was so shocked, because he really was in this fan base, which I think is quite negative at times. He was the positive light. And usually when people pass or people end up in bad scenarios, everyone goes out their way to say how good these people were. But with Peach, nobody's lying, because this man really was incredibly positive. I've never, ever seen a negative word out of his mouth, unless it was a joke of some kind about some woman that he's been with the night before. But yeah, I think that the thing with Peach, he's like an excited puppy at Christmas, and he's going to be very, very hard to get over his loss, because he was just so unique, and that's the word I used yesterday. He's incredibly unique. He would send me his Instagram post where he'd put a YouTube link in the comments, and I would try and tell him, Peach, this link, you can't click on it, but he'd just send it again. He'd send a 10-minute freestyle that he randomly said about me, and I was like, Peach, I don't know where that's come from, but thank you. He would text me at 3 a.m. I'd be like, what now, Peach? And he'd say, I'm doing another stream. I'd go on there. There'd only be 2 people watching, because obviously everyone was asleep, but he'd still be rambling on. He'd find something to talk about, positivity. He'd walk around. I remember when we were on streams and people would call out his name and he's just walked off. Just walked off. He's on the way back. People are calling Peach's name to talk, and he's lost his headphones. That's just what he was like. He was unique, different, and he was crazy. And people like that, you don't really get much of. You don't get people like this very often. And I think that's what's the most sad part about it, because people that positive don't deserve to go. and he certainly didn't deserve to go. He had so much more positivity to give, and I think a big opportunity at some point would have came for him because, as I say, people that positive don't come around that often, and that is what he was. He was a positive ray of sunshine in a world of darkness, and that's just the guy he is, and that's the guy he always was, and I'm sure he'll show them qualities again up in heaven. So, thank you to everyone who knew Peach and who spoke to Peach when I was in with him as well. He was such a great person, and everyone on here, I feel the same about you all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alfie. Beautiful
Good
words. Yeah. Don't really have too much more I can add to that, really. We've also been joined, Nicole. Hello? I don't know. Nicole, can you hear me? No. Hang on.
Maybe not.
No. Suspect something's gone a little bit awry. If she comes back at some point, she can obviously, add to the conversation. If something's gone wrong her end, then we'll never know. But I mean, just sort of like from my
Sorry,
perspective.
Rob, just before my battery goes, mate, 'cause I'm about to die before I get in the car on my battery, on my laptop. I've got just one more thing I want to share.
Go for it.
Just before I have to shoot off, like I say, I'm at 5% on this. Going back to Lucas, you were saying about the video messages that you were getting when he used to walk around the streets. I stitched him up royally once. He was sending me video messages, and I was sitting in my office.
Oh,
You've gone, Duke.
Battery's
your
gone.
sound's
By the
gone.
sounds of it.
You're muted. Oh
no.
dear. Oh, I think his battery is probably just bit the dust.
The other quick story, gents, is probably you noticed, and I was very upset. They put Peach's parents, if they're watching, it was around the Christmas time, and he was talking to me like how excited he was, obviously with the West Ham fixtures coming thick and fast, and he said he was wearing, I can't remember what year it was, I think it was like 2014 West Ham shirt, and that he was like, that's the last West Ham shirt I own, like the latest. So live on stream, I ordered him last season's West Ham top. Obviously, you remember he'd done the unveiling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I actually started watching that stream earlier, the one when he actually opened it live, and that's when it sort of sunk in as well. And literally on Sunday or Saturday when he messaged, I was sitting there with my family, and that's the mad thing. I think people have probably said that in the conversation, but even my family know Peach. I think even like my missus's friends know who Peach is. Do you know what I mean? It's mad to think how popular. And literally on Sunday, I was saying I can't wait to get him this season's kit or top and get that sent over to him as well. But no, he was just an amazing, and the passion for like you are, Lucas, like overseas fans. You really do take it for granted, like how. I know that it's sort of like the family tradition, but when you hear like the passion, where you are in America, like obviously Peach, it really does open your eyes of just how unique we are as well. So, but no, like you said, we're having Peach Dog and 33 on the back of our shirts, and I'm going to get that on Sunday, and once that's all done, I'm going to do it as one big package. So I'm going to do the donation on Sunday once I've got the shirt.
I wanted to try and get last season's with Peach Dog because he absolutely loves last season's kit. He really loved it. But
yeah, I had the white. I got the white one. Kit now. Yeah, I got the away one. But I think the third kit's the only one you can get now. I think actually.
It is. The one of my favourite stories was January transfer night, and he was getting people on to talk about what was going on, and me and young Tom Athers, we pretty much took over the channel. Just completely, by accident, we're just chatting away, and all of a sudden you look round and he's gone. To see the background of his bedroom or wherever the camera was, and he was gone for like 20-25 minutes, and then all of a sudden in actual fact I don't think he came back, because we pretty much finished the stream.
Oh,
It
that
was just
that happened. That happened quite regularly with Peach.
And then it doesn't end for another 7 hours because he fell asleep or something.
Probably.
I've got a vague recollection, and it's a shame that Budgie's not here, because I'm sure maybe my recollection of the situation might not be crystal. But I think, if I remember rightly, he was on with Budgie, and I don't know if it was on Green Street Elite or if it was on Random. I've got a funny feeling it was Random. It might have been before Green Street Elite actually came into being, where it was Peach and Budgie, and I'm sure it was Peach and Budgie. I might be getting this completely arse about face, but I'm sure it was Peach and Budgie. They were on a stream, and Peach just dropped off. I think his battery died, and poor old Budgie's there. He's like, oh, I can't end the stream. What do I do, sort of thing? It was just like, oh my god. Yeah, just and the name of his YouTube channel was West Ham Random, and that summed up that one word summed Peach up to a T. He was totally random. He'd come up with conversations that out of completely nowhere, and you'd be sitting there going, where the hell did that come from? That's so random. And that was Peach. That was Peach. Totally random.
Me and some of the boys were talking last night after everything happened, and I always go back to a little. It's not even a story. It was always just like everyone has their Peach trigger where they've just like had enough. They're like, oh, Peach, just piss off for 2 minutes, please. Yep. And one of my one trigger was when I'd tune in, and of course I'd always tune in right at the beginning where he does his 15-minute compilation intro, and you're just waiting for the show to start. And I don't know why, but it was always the intro with Papa Zabaleta and the computer-generated voice that just goes, random. That was the one I was like, can you please start the freaking show, Peach? Like, I'm ready. And Frankel was hosting it, and he played all the intros last night, and it was absolutely brilliant. And he was just going through them all, and they weren't titled. And we were like trying to describe which intros were our favorite, and there was like at least 40, and none of them were titled, and he was just randomly going through all of them, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But one thing what you can say about Peach, cider.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved cider. Loved pie and mash as well. I remember having a conversation with him because he turned around and said that every time he came, not that he, obviously he's in Canada, he couldn't just sort of like turn up in East London as and when he sees fit. But he'd always sort of like, when I was sort of saying to him, I'd send him photographs, because I love me pie, mash and liquor. And I'd send him on WhatsApp. I'd take a photograph and I'd send him a photo of, a plate of pie, mash and liquor. And he'd be like, oh, I hate you. Tongue in cheek, obviously. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I turned around to him one day and I said, oh, I'll see if I can find someone that can sort of like send pie, mash and liquor the other side. I never did, because there wasn't anyone that would sort of send it to Canada. I'm afraid.
No suppliers.
But I did try. I said, mate, I've asked around. There are establishments that will ship it to anywhere in the UK, but sending it transatlantic was a bit too much, unfortunately. I'd have loved to have. Yeah, I'd have loved for him to get on a plane. Obviously, COVID hit, and obviously you couldn't travel from one side of the pond to the other. It was just a complete shutdown. And obviously we're now hopefully starting to get to a situation where travel is a bit more free and all the rest of it. And I'll never get that opportunity. I mean, obviously, Lucas, you know, because you came over, as you said a little bit earlier, and we met and we went to Kelly's on the Roman Road for a bit of pie mash and liquor. And I'd have loved to have had the opportunity to, if Peach had come this side, to do likewise with him. And it's absolutely, I never envisaged this. I mean, I sort of wind back to when I picked up my phone this morning, and similar to you, Milesy, you know, my phone was sitting there on silent. I'm having a kip, and I obviously got the message that Happy put on the chat, which didn't make me happy, I'm afraid, Happy. So there you go. But it's not your fault, obviously. But I was like, what? And I thought, this has got to be a wind up. This is seriously, and even now, I'm sitting here thinking this just seems really bizarre, really surreal, quite. And I'm still sort of thinking, has there been a really terrible mistake and mistaken identity or something like that? Of course, I know with regret that is not the case, but you know what I mean? It's just still something I sort of, you know, oh, maybe they've sort of like cocked up, and I know they haven't. It's wishful thinking on my part, but James, you've obviously, thank you for popping in. I say you've got some memories of the man himself.
Yeah, I'm sort of trying it a bit, mate, but I'll never forget. I think you will remember this, and Duke definitely will. The time on Hammer's chat when all the chats come in for him because he couldn't afford Patreon.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, when everyone sort of he was on there, he had some mad Canadian, like, to see, saying he couldn't afford Patreon. Then the next thing you know, I think there must have been about 300, 400 quid worth of super checks just go flying in for him. And listen, last night was hard. I was on the space with the lads, Lucas, West Ham Online, and a few others. And I'll be honest with you, from the highs and lows of yesterday to like life now, it's surreal, really. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel real, but it's just gutting is the word I probably look for. Do you know what I mean? So it's just truly gutting, mate.
Yeah. What's your lasting, abiding memory if you had to pick one memory? And I know it's quite difficult, and obviously we're all still processing it and all the rest of it, but if someone didn't know Peach and just said to you, tell me about this, what do you think? What would be your...
What an impossible task.
That is an impossible task. I would say Unique is he's the most passionate West Ham fan I've probably ever sort of spoke to, in my opinion. Like, and this, we're all passionate in our own right, don't get me wrong. But this is a man who literally would talk about West Ham 24 hours a day if he could. You know what I mean? So, and that to me means a lot. He's unique. He's flamboyant. He's over the top. He's everything that you want in a person, mate. And he's the sort of person that you could have the most miserable day, but he would cheer you up. Do you know what I mean? With his rapping or his like, do you know what I mean? Wooka stuff. So yeah. For me, mate, I'm gonna miss him. Listen, like last night it was hard, like, and obviously you boys are getting it today. But I tell you what, it's just surreal for me. It's just really surreal.
Wow.
Something's up.
Gatesy's done a Peach.
Yeah. Yeah. Anton, as you just joined, mate, do you want to say your piece?
Yeah, absolutely. Gatesy's coming back. He certainly has done a Peach, hasn't he?
Yeah, we've got the phone out and everything. Look.
Modern technology, what can you do? Sorry, continue, please.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Cheers, Gatesy. I can only stay a really kind of short time, but I just wanted to jump on and thought, like, you know, just say a few words. And yep, everything that everyone said is everything that I completely agree with. I don't know. I was trying to think about it today. I mean, how much time must he have physically spent voice noting and video messaging people like on a daily basis because I
wanted to mention that. I forgot about that. Like, he connected with so many people, and the fact that and we're all in like several chats where Peach might be involved, and I have not once seen a copy and pasted voice note from Peach. He had to have sent at least 30 in a day to people, every single one unique, everyone over 5 minutes long.
Minimum. Like that's just what he was all about. But you know, I remember we used to communicate via email, and he was like desperate for asking me for my phone number at the time, and I was like, I wasn't being at the time. I wasn't being nasty. I was like, what's going on here? I don't know. I don't know what my mindset was. However, I eventually gave him my phone number, and then bang, the voice note started, and I was struggling to find time to voice note back, but then I started to voice note back because I felt like I would have to do it on his time scale, you know, when his time was coming in. So it actually suited me when I would wake up in the morning and have loads of voice notes. I'd deal with the kids, and whenever they would go, then I would voice note back, and then we'd sometimes catch each other, and sometimes I'd be doing a feed at night, and he'd be voice noting. I'd have to put earphones in so the little one couldn't hear it and stuff like that. But just everything you have all said, like you're right, Lucas, mate. He completely, like, he understood my family. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he got to know everybody personally. So he would ask me, how's Freddie? And I'm just like, you know, you take it for granted. But equally,
so good at it.
Yeah, he was so good at it. And then, you know, my daughter Mila, and then when Joey was born, and then he messaged me and he was like, listen, I know you can't talk. I know you've not got a lot of time, but I'm just letting you know, anything you want to talk about, anything you need to chat about, I'm here, all that sort of stuff. And I know we've done that for all of you. It's not about I know we've done it for everyone. I get it. It's just the fact that he took the time out of his day to go, do you know what? I'm going to message Anton. Do you know what? I'm going to message JP. Do you know what? I'm going to message Gatesy. Do you know what? I'm going to message Lucas. Like you said, Lucas, earlier on, I was cooking the dinner, and I heard you saying, like, when you were coming over to London, and he was just talking about your experiences, what were you doing? And he would do the same. And we had loads of chats about, he loved obviously hip hop music, and I like the old school hip hop music. And I used to rap a little bit and send him raps back. And I loved how he was so innovative with his raps. And I tried to do it, but I was so crap. So I would try and put my name in it. So it'd be like, you know, the unforgettable Baker, and he would always go P to the E to the A to the Z, you know, all that sort of stuff. So he was just a 1 in a million, genuinely 1 in a million. And it's not very, you know, we've never really met each other. Most of us, well, some of us have, some of us haven't. And you do make friends through this. And when something like this happens, it really rams home to you how important life is, and how important people are, just to communicate and stay in touch and be nice and be friendly. And that's key. And finally, you know, I love this positivity in life. I loved it. No matter what shit was going down in his life, he was extremely positive. And he would be someone you would bounce off to feel positive about, because you know yourself, social media can be a negative place, and he certainly wasn't. And he could make you feel better about it. So yeah, I think this is a great idea as well. The GoFundMe, we'll definitely donate to that. And yeah, just a pleasure to know him, and gutted that we won't be able to have those chats again. Absolutely gutted.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments, Anton.
I think that the other thing was when because I didn't know his name originally until we sent him something. We sent him a gift ages ago, and I was like, Peach, I can't write on the gift, the parcel, Peach, because what happens if it comes in and you're not there and all that sort of stuff. And that's when he told me his name. So I used to joke with him and start calling him his name at the time. And then because I think, I don't know how your phone works, but when you write something, it comes up whenever he texts you, suggested, and then it says Matthew Wren on it. And I was just like, who's Matthew Wren? Who's this guy? Even though I knew his name.
I would have to put that as the second greatest mystery from Peach solved. And for me personally, last night, after everything happened, we had his cousin came on and talked to us, Sandor, and we finally figured out how old he was. Because he was like a woman, he would never reveal.
He never wanted to let you know, did he? He was always very mysterious.
We finally found out. And for the people, do you guys want to know? Should I tell the people?
Yeah, I don't see why.
Sandor told us he was 45. And
there you go.
Not that it mattered, but we were all just like, finally.
Yeah, yeah.
It's finally come out.
But anyway, I thanks for having me on, Gatesy, and
Absolute pleasure, despite the
yeah,
circumstances, Anton.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone, like you said earlier on, if you can donate, the smallest amount would count. Absolutely would help towards his family and things. And it's horrible to be able to say that's what we're doing, but every little helps. So he will certainly never be forgotten. I mean, to the point of us, you probably all done the same. I turned around to my wife and I said, "Do you remember Peach?" And she went, the crazy voice notes. And I went, yes. I said, and I told her. So she knew who he was and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, thank you. Take it easy. Stay safe.
Thanks, Anton.
Cheers.
Thank you. We've also got Charlie that's popped onto the stream that wants to sort of give us their take on Peach. Charlie, go for it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything because obviously I was on the show last night with everyone and I was just sitting watching, but it was something that Anton was talking about, and I think it really does bear repeating that I said last night, and mainly because, you know, we're in a situation here where JP's obviously here and yourself, Gatesy, and Lucas does videos and stuff, and I just really feel like it bears repeating how whenever I spoke to him about the channel, West Ham Random, and we had loads of conversations about it, and you all know what it's like when you get a video that gets like more views than usual or whatever, like you get a burst of subscribers, whatever. It's always very exciting. It's always like, oh my god, look at this amazing thing that's happening. And whenever I spoke to him about the channel, he literally never mentioned it. The thing that made him more excited was he was like, oh, I was having this amazing conversation with Wally last night about blah, 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 blah. I did this show last night. And he was always just talking about the conversations he had and the friends he made and all of these things. And I think it bears repeating because it is so rare. There's nothing, like, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with, you know, celebrating when you get a video that gets 1 out of 10 on the YouTube back end. There's nothing wrong with something that, you know, when you get a burst of subscribers, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But the fact that he literally only ever spoke about the friendships and the conversations that he had with people and nothing else, to the point where I remember, and unfortunately I'm going to have to bring up Adam Franco. I'm sorry, everyone. I know I'm going to bring the mood down. I'm sorry. But I remember when...
carefully, dear boy.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. No one likes him. But when he came across the first time, and he met up with Tom and Rebecca in Leeds, and it was similar to what you're saying, Lucas, where he was just so excited by it, and he had like the background on his phone was like a picture they all took together for a while, and I'm like, this is how much he actually cared about everyone else. He just really genuinely did, and he just is so, like I say, it's so rare to find that. It really, really is. And I just felt like it bear repeating. I was sitting listening and enjoying everyone's stories and stuff. But I just wanted to put that out again on a different platform because it is, everyone here can attest. You know, you don't hear that very often, especially in the YouTube space. So for someone like that to be like, I don't know, what a man.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, thanks for popping on and saying your piece, giving your tribute to Peach.
And also, Gatesy, thank you for setting up the GoFundMe and everything. Obviously, everyone, the link is in the chat and everything, and it's on Twitter, all over Twitter and stuff. But Gatesy, thank you for doing that. I know, So I know someone had to do it, and I appreciate you going through the effort of doing something nice for.
Yeah, I hope I've done it right. I was just sort of like, I've never done this before. I'm completely winging it. I've set it up, and like I say, every single penny. I mean, GoFundMe, you won't be surprised to hear that there is a charge of some description. So I know it says there 885 has been donated. There is a portion
not
of that.
to interject, Gatesy, but you might want to refresh it, mate, because it's 9:35 now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Hang on. Let me just take that off there. Refresh it there. Yes, you're right.
You get like it's like 2% commission on top of what you
there's a chunk. There's another screen I sort of went to on my phone, and it sort of says, but we take this, which is fine. I mean, they've obviously, it costs an amount to sort of run a sort of website and all the rest of it, so it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, like I say, just want to, whatever we do, guys, and it's really shit that however much we raise, it's not going to change the fact that we've lost a dear and loved friend. But hopefully we can put something outside London Stadium, which will be there for as long as the stadium is there, and will be a memorial to a guy that we held very close to our hearts. Sadly, I say I never ever met him in the flesh, and unfortunately now I never will, and that is a source of profound and deep regret in my life. But it's it's one of them things. Like I say, I always try to find a positive out of a negative, and I'm glad that I got to know him in the way that I did. Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. You know what I mean? Yes, he was taken from us at a very, very young age, and obviously circumstances that were, just out of the blue completely. But I'm glad that I crossed paths with him. I'm glad that I shared those WhatsApp notes that seemed to go on for eternity, and you'd finish listening to them and go, what the bloody hell was he talking about? Well, I've got no. He's just spent 20 minutes rabbiting on about something that I didn't understand a word of, and that happened regular. But yeah, totally unique guy. Like I say, I don't think some people might not have understood, like I say, exactly what he'd gone through in his earlier days, and part of the reason why sometimes, like I say, he could select the wrong words and maybe upset people by poor choice of words, but it wasn't his fault. He never ever set out to offend anyone. He never ever set out to intentionally hurt someone's feelings, piss someone off. He just couldn't do that. He wasn't built that way. He was a really gentle guy. He had a wicked sense of humor, but beneath that, he was a guy of great of great sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Humanity. Great humanity.
I think one thing, if I had to guess, that Peach would be happiest about that he's done in his time, not even his life, or not even just being on YouTube for the past 2 years, but his life. I think he would be most happy that he was able to bring a bunch of people together, not to just interact and talk about West Ham, but truly become friends and mates for a long, long time.
And just to bounce off the back of that, Lucas, I'm going to head off in just a second, but genuinely feel that Peach has told everybody a lesson that, just be nice to people. As to echo what Anton was saying about, the way that the social media world is, which YouTube is part of it. There's a lot of people out there that don't use it properly, shall we say. But we should just all take a couple of pages out of his book. We really should, because at the end of the day, it just shows you what you do. If you're a genuine nice person, and as everyone has been saying, he did it. There was no agenda behind anything that he has ever done. Wasn't doing it to get favors out of people. He was doing it to be himself, and just to make the world a slightly happier place. And I hope all of us take that into our heads and try and, in his memory and his honor, to replicate that going forward, and just be nicer to each other, and just be. Doesn't matter what your opinions are. You don't have to agree with everybody, but respect your opinions, as Peach respected each and every single one of everything that we've ever said.
And the only way we get through it is just doing it as a unit. We can only help each other, and I think that'll be the best way for us to continue onward.
And I will be taking up the mantle, so everyone expect at least 15-minute voice notes I'm talking half hour at least.
Bring it on, Charlie boy. Bring it on.
Get excited for that. It'd be very exciting. Well, listen,
I want the
all I'm saying is
freestyles.
not only could I freestyle, I also just want to let you all know I might be getting Chinese later. I might have opinions. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what happens.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm shooting off, guys. So, Gatesy,
We-
Charlie, it's been lovely to see you guys again. Obviously, Charlie's little talking C, but
Thank you.
Lucas, Duke, Anton. I did meet Anton a couple of years ago, but only very briefly. It's nice to get connection with everybody as well, because at the end of the day, that's what Peach wanted to do, and long may that
Yeah.
continue. But guys, it's going to be difficult, but have a fantastic weekend.
We'll try,
And
mate.
I
You
will-
look after
I'll-
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, everyone look after yourself and enjoy that. It's going to be nice hot weather again, so enjoy.
Mhm.
Keep the water out available, and I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.
All right, mate.
All the
Thanks for your
best.
time. Appreciate it. Okay, well, I mean, we've been going for an hour now. As I say, anybody that's watching this, if you haven't already, you can see there's just giving GoFundMe, same difference, I guess. GoFundMe page there, and as I say, if you're late to the party, this is a fund that is going to be for a stone that we're going to get in memory of Peach, that we're going to get installed at Champions Place, London Stadium. Oh, hello. I've just been informed that the target has been reached. That is incredible. Let me just refresh that. Nearly, according to what I've got. We're closer.
I've got 940.
Yeah, that's what I've got. Listen, I'm sure we'll get that. And I mean, I'm absolutely stunned that, I mean, that's an hour and a half old. That is absolutely stunning. Like I say, I wish I didn't have to do it. I really do. I wish I didn't have to do it. But, you know, like I say, we'll get a stone for his family to sort of see. And I mean, obviously, you know, his family are the other side. Well, he had family in England. He often spoke about his family in Basingstoke on many different occasions that we spoke. But obviously his parents are in Canada, so but we'll get a stone Champions Place, London Stadium. We'll get that put in, and whatever surplus is there. Oh, hello! Just went on the page. It said 1040. Well, if that's the case, Steve, that's fantastic.
1045.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Flipping
Hang on.
heck.
Let me just refresh that. Hold on. Oh my word. That is stunning. That is stunning. Incredible effort, guys. Yeah, like I say, I mean that's more than enough for a stone, but as I say, no matter how much we get, it's not going to bring the fella back. It's not going to ease the hurt that predominantly and primarily his parents will be feeling. I mean, no parent should ever. That doesn't matter how old the child is. Doesn't matter how old you are as a parent. For you to be in a position where you're laying your child to rest, no, just something I don't think any of us should ever have to go through. But that is where they're at, and no amount of money that we give to them will ever come close to soothing the pain that they feel. But if they decide they're going to do this with it, that with it, you know, if they're going to possibly,
None of our business.
yeah, if they're going to possibly donate it to a charity in, you know, that they feel was close to Peach's heart, then I think that's again a fitting tribute. And one other thing, I hope that what I'm about to say, the family of Peach don't have a problem with me relaying this information, because I'm doing it out of love and respect for the guy. But one piece of information that seems to, that I don't think we've touched upon is the fact that my information is that there are going to be 3 recipients of organs that as a result of Peach's untimely passing. I believe that 2 kidneys and I think his heart, if I remember correctly, have been allocated to people on the transplant list. So there will be a piece of, literally there will be a slice of Peach, as you know, we sometimes spoke on a, you know, about getting him on, and we called it a
It wasn't
slice
enough for him to give it all to us. He
Yeah.
had to add more people.
Yeah, so there's going to be 3 people that are going to be recipients of organs. So Peach will live on. He will. There will be a piece of him still around. He will be helping 3 individuals to lead a full and happy life going forwards. And even in his passing, he has given to some other individuals that he will never ever know. And I think that's a fitting tribute.
Agreed. What a man.
Yeah.
Legend.
What an absolute legend.
Yeah. Is there any final words you want to say, Charlie and Lucas, before we knock it on the head?
Charlie?
It's just unfortunate you had to be friends with Adam Frankel, really. I mean, that's the big thing. But I mean, outside of that, I think I spoke to my girlfriend about it last night when it happened, and she's emotional about it to some extent, even though she never spoke to Peach. We obviously had so many conversations that even she knew, and it's one of those things that, like you say, Gates, I really hoped it was a mistake for a while, but unfortunately it wasn't. So yeah, but thank you. But lastly, thank you to you for the GoFundMe. Thank you to Happy for letting us all know as well, and being the sort of middleman, having to go back and forth and doing that. I know that was probably really difficult as well. So shout out to Happy as well. Yeah, what a man, Peach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just real quick, Lucas, any final words from yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously all gonna miss him a lot, and no matter how much we didn't want it or wanted it, Peach has left a little something with us all for the rest of our lives. His optimism, his positivity, and most of all, how to be a good friend.
Yeah, well, I think on that, gentlemen, and for those of you that are still watching in the live chat, anyone that watches it subsequently, this is where I'm going to hit end broadcast, and thanks for joining us, and take care.